primary sources, it's great, but in terms of looking into actually what happened, I think books have to be the most important thing. Number one, because they are reliable. But also, there is the key question here is that Google isn't always there. Sometimes in life we have to counter people's arguments, and it's not there. We see politicians use history, we see many people use history in public life, and we can't argue it if we don't know those historical facts, which are the kind of basis of historical knowledge. We need to know the dates of the First World War before we can debate what kind of impact it had.
LJ, this is the world you inhabit, you know, professionally, possibly personally as well, of technology. So where are the pitfalls? Where are the dangers of the incredible access to information that it gives you?
Well, there's obviously, actually, even, for things like the internet, it's a tool that we as humans use, and it's how we interpret the information that's the most important thing. A book is just as likely to be wrong as, say, any other piece of information. It just is that on the internet, there's vast swathes of information. The trick is being able to decipher what's true and what isn't, and that's just as hard whether you're online or you're offline. The internet's an amazing resource. It allows you to take degrees online. There's free courses. There's a site called edX.com. It's not for profit. You can learn everything from public speaking to an introduction to electronics in Mandarin with English subtitles. You can do this for free. So for everyone who's going to say, well, the internet's actually, there's a danger in finding, you know, self-diagnosing on the internet, for example. If you're going to the wrong sites to find out medical advice, then you're going to get the wrong information. In the same way with history, the books and a lot of the stuff that survives to today, well, a lot of those are going to be written by the winners. So everything needs to be taken with a pinch of salt.
I'm interested whether or not we actually... I think the thing they're trying to point out is, do we actually learn it? If you look it up, do you actually take it on board?
Right. The study was the one that I read, which I found on the internet.
And you've remembered.
And I've remembered. Talks about this thing called transactive memory. People were told that something that they were going to remember was going to be saved by a computer. Now, if you knew, for example, that Charlie remembers the next few items that are going to be on BBC Breakfast, you might not feel as much need or compulsion to remember those things, because you know that somebody else is remembering it for you.
There's a problem with that.
Well,
you might not remember them, but anyway, I see what you're saying.
No, that's a good point. That's a fair point.
It's a good point. I was reading a very interesting other survey yesterday that was saying that actually we can't run. Children these days can't run as fast as their parents, and my generation can't run as fast as their parents because we don't run anymore. Because actually the human body is a muscle. All of it's a muscle. If we don't use it, we lose it. And so if we don't use memory, we will lose it. And what worries me is if we don't lose our memory, eventually what we'll be able, evolutionary terms, what we'll be able to do is press return and press the buttons on the computer. We won't be able to remember, because in the old days before we had mobiles, we all knew phone numbers off by heart. But who knows phone numbers off by heart now?
One of the thoughts that occurs to me is that information is one thing, wisdom is something else entirely, isn't it? It's about context and about how things that you can find out link to other things.
In fact, yes.
And there's a danger that you think people are clever because they can access things quickly.
Well,
but that's a completely different skill set, isn't it? That's just about being
No, this is short-term memory versus mastery of a subject. You can learn how to take a radiator off a wall on YouTube. What you can't learn in those 5 minutes that you've taken the radiator off a wall is what to do when there's water everywhere. The idea with that is that you need to have some plumbing experience behind you or some study.
Can I give Kate a last thought? Go on.
Well, I agree. I agree that we need to have because short-term memory, Googling things, we're not going to remember them. And if we rely on Google, I think that what LJ said is right. We have to think, okay, Google's there, but we can't rely on it, because if we do, we'll end up remembering nothing and just pressing buttons and not being able to run, and it's a distressing picture for evolution.
We should remember there are other search engines available as well.
Yes.
Thanks both. Thank you very much.
Let's see. Time now 7:40.
We stoppen ermee? Nee, ik ben wel klaar.
Ik laat schieten van 20 meter dan van 11.
Ja. We hebben het alweer over andere momenten die direct aan bod komen. Opvallend, Twente kan een 2-0 voorsprong niet vasthouden, Jan.
Nou, dat konden ze wel, maar ze waren bezig. Ik vind niks ergerlijkers dan arrogantie op een voetbalveld. Zeker van een eenvoudige ploeg als Twente ten opzichte van NEC. Ja, dolle. Toen het 2-0 was, gallery play. Zeer misplaatst. En ze haalden zichzelf uit hun spel.
We hebben een hele leuke wedstrijd gezien tussen Groningen en Roda. Waarin gewoon twee ploegen lekker voetballen. Niks aan de hand. Zo snel mogelijk naar het doel van de tegenstander. En hij heeft het hard.
Ja, ik was vandaag bij Utrecht Heerenveen eigenlijk soortgelijk.
Prima. Dit is ook mooi. Ja, ga gewoon door.
Twente reageert onmiddellijk.
Ja. Ga gewoon door, de mensen kunnen ons horen. Gaat direct wel weer aan.
Nooit.
Ja, het is toch een radioprogramma, maakt het uit.
Welke club hebben wij?
Ja, Utrecht. Ja, Utrecht tegen Heerenveen. Vooraf moest ik ook nog een praatje houden over wat ik verwachtte. Ik zeg, nou, uitslag kan ik niet voorspellen. Maar ik kan wel voorspellen dat er veel kansen komen en veel goals gemaakt gaan worden. Het kan 5-3 worden of 3-5. Nou, er gingen er maar 2 in. Nou, die scheidsrechter die heeft zeker 3 penalties niet gegeven.
Nee, daar zaten momenten in. Ik heb geen idee of we dit nu kunnen instarten of niet. Of dat we nog op zender zijn.
Ja, ik zal ze beschrijven, die penalties. Want we kunnen dat natuurlijk niet meer zien. Of kunnen we dat nog wel instarten?
Maar kan de regie even aan mij geven... Oké, nou laten we even laten zien. Dit is een penalty, terwijl wij in het donker kunnen het heel goed zien. Dit lijkt me een penalty, hè?
Nou, met